Hi everybody, I'm Alex and welcome to my channel. So today I got to thinking about flatmates because I was minding my own business complaining about the heat while the air conditioning was on when I realized my flatmate had left the air conditioning on and his window. Who does that? There are over 30 degrees outside. So my first flatmate was my mother. But after I moved away from home and my dad. So my first flatmates were my mom and my dad, of course, but after I moved away from home, I moved with a brother and sister. You shouldn't really do that, like moving with a couple or like brothers and sisters family, because they will have each other's back most likely, when you're gonna be the odd one. So I have like the perfect example for that. I was living in a semi-detached room, like the one where you go like from the hallway through the room to another hallway. So I had no privacy whatsoever, but I just moved to the big city away from home. Can't wait to start a new life. Woo! So like you're 20 something, you'll do it. It doesn't matter. So I was living with a boy and a girl, like I said, brother and sister, and surprisingly the boys was much cooler to live with. And I say surprisingly because I usually don't get along with boys as well as I do with girls. So what exactly made the girl a nightmare to live with compared to the boy? Well, the boy was okay. I mean, we really didn't have that much in common. It was really chill. I'm really chill. We didn't really speak. We didn't have that many things in common. And, well, he would like drag his feet across the floor when he would go to the bathroom and stay there for hours. So, that's something you can live with. But there are two things he did that really put a question mark on. One of them was a friend of mine, a girlfriend, came to visit and stayed at my place for a couple of days, and I noticed in that period he became like really friendly. Not so much with me, but like with her, and he is usually not very friendly. Like other people came to visit and he didn't speak to them. And now I found them cooking together, talking all the time. So one day he was like, "Oh, let's watch a movie, all four of us, like me, my friend, and him and his sister." And that was really suspicious because up until that point we didn't even watch a music video together, let alone a whole movie. But I was like, okay, so this is him trying to be friendly, open up, like, oh, okay. We watched the movie, The Martian, good movie. And the day my friend left, she told me he hit on her the entire time. He basically told her like she looks so much like his ex-girlfriend, and he's not really over her. So, and he complimented her, and well, he wasn't like aggressive or something like, but it's still my friend saw it as amusing, because she had a boyfriend, but also my flatmate had a girlfriend. So it begs the question, like, if my friend would have been like, "Oh, you're so cute also," what would have happened? Well, it's not for me to judge, but anyway. Bottom line, like, don't hit on people who are visiting. It's weird. And the second thing, which kind of defines his character, I guess, is I think he allegedly hit my dog. I have like a small Havanese, which is a really cute and not annoying dog. She doesn't bark all the time, she knows to be outside and whatever, She's like a well-behaved dog. She really is. That's one of the reasons why I love her. And when I moved here, I took her with me, and the guy was kind of like ambivalent about having a dog in the apartment. I was like, "Oh, well, you see, she's like really cool, I mean, I wouldn't take her to live somewhere in a new apartment if she would ruin the stuff or whatever." And after a couple of days, I mean, well, she's a dog. She would bark sometimes, like somebody would knock on the door or she would see a pigeon fly by. So after a couple of days, like maybe 2 weeks or something, I noticed when he would go through my room, she would start barking, but like barking kind of defensive and violently, which is not like her. She doesn't bark at anybody. When she sees a person, she always greets them like very happy. And I always joke, like if a robber would come, knock on wood, she would greet him with her wiggly tail. She wouldn't attack him. But she started barking at my flatmate for no apparent reason. And speaking with my mom, we realized she did the same thing with one of our neighbors, who I know kicked her once. So, well, there you go. We have somebody who probably allegedly hits animals and hits on my friend. But all that you could live with, maybe. I sent my dog to live with my mom, so I was cool. I wouldn't talk to him, he wouldn't talk to me. But there was his sister. How do you solve a problem like his sister? So I was working from home as a content writer, and because I had this type of room where you can cross it, the girl would be in my room like half a day, every day, talking to me and asking like, what day is it and what are you writing about and everything. And at first it was nice, it made me feel welcome and whatever. Then I realized, she was just talking. She didn't really care about the answer. She didn't work, so she didn't really care what day it was. When I didn't work, I didn't care what day it was. And she would insist on every day on telling me what she dreamed of the previous night. And you can tell me anything. I will listen, I will agree or not. I am here to listen, okay? But if there's one thing I really can't stand is when people start telling me their dreams. It's like, why? And go into explicit detail. It's like it didn't happen, it will never happen, it's scientifically fantastical, whatever. Stop telling me so many details, please, and every freaking day. But again, these are just things that annoy you, so you can forgive the person, like we all have our differences. But it was kind of nasty when I realized she was stealing from me. Before I moved there, I asked her if I need to put a deposit, and she said no, it's okay, don't worry. And then like after 3 days, she called me and she was like, oh, about that deposit, yeah, you should send it to me. And I was like, okay, this sounds really fishy, but I'm moving away from home, yay! A year later, when I was about to move out, because I couldn't really stand her anymore, but the subject of the deposit came, and she was like, oh yeah, you should talk to the owner. And I called the owner, so the landlord was like really cool. I only saw him twice the time I lived there, so it's okay. And I called him and asked him if I could get my deposit back and whatever. Only to find out he never got my deposit because he never asked for any deposit. The girl had asked for deposit money because she needed some money. Isn't that nice? And when I mentioned this to her, she acted like it's not true and kind of like trying to find some excuses. And I was like, I know from the landlord, like, why are you pretending? And when it was time to give me my money back, she kept finding bills to pay, and I was like, yeah, I know there are bills to pay, can you show me the bills? And she was like, oh well, we haven't received that one yet. And I was like, well, okay, I will give you the money and the bill is gonna come. I'm not gonna run away with $3, give me my money back. When I finally went to get my money, she gave me like half of the sum. I was like, fine, you know what, can't even bother. Because during this time, I also noticed some other shady behavior. Even before that, she tried to trick me with money-related stuff. We paid the rent in euros, so we would have to exchange it, and one day I asked her, hey, can you also exchange mine if you go in? No, and she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And when she came back, she was like, oh yeah, exchange the money, and you have to give me like a lot of money extra. And I was like, when did the value of the euro raise? Like overnight? Like, she was like, oh well, that's what the lady there said. I don't know, and you have to give me this. And well, I called my dad and I told him the story, and he was like, are you kidding me? Look it online. You can't have that much of a difference. Like, what's wrong with you? She's taking advantage. And I did look it up online, and I went to her and was like, hey, you know that the value of the euro is like this much, so why should I give you that? And she was like, oh my god, what a mistake. So I asked her like, what's the dealio? And she was like, oh my god, like, oh, so embarrassing, like my jacket was ripped, and I noticed like that money like slipped in there, and I just found them. And I didn't say anything, because I didn't want to believe it. I mean, is this for real? I mean, with flatmates living together, you're stealing from me, you know? Because like she was in the kitchen, like she didn't have the money with her. It's not like she just noticed. I mean, she noticed, but kept her mouth shut and waited for me to pay anyway. What is up with that? But one of the worst parts about living with her was during the winter. She didn't really take care of her cat. She had a cute little black cat. Ugh. So, so usually in the morning I would hear the cat being like meow 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 at the balcony door where the litter is, and after minutes and minutes I would hear my flatmate like ugh and getting out from the bed and opening the door and shut it down, but like with power, like slam it. It's like, man, it's your cat. I mean, you put the litter there. What do you expect from the cat? It's a cat. So, in order to stop doing that exercise, she decided to leave the balcony door open during winter. Now, let me tell you, winters here are very cold, okay? So, you don't just sit with the door or window open. You do that like for a bit to like air the room and whatever, and then you close it and turn on the heat and pray for God. But not with her. She would leave the balcony door open, and then she would go and turn on the heat to the maximum. In the meantime, I was having like a hoodie on, like long pants to keep me warmer, and turn down the heat a bit because it would get like too hot, and also the expenses would be really high. And so I had just moved there. I didn't have like a lot of money, and the heat can get pretty expensive. So I tried to deal with some costs, and at the same time, she didn't work at all. So all of her money came from her parents, who are not rich or anything. So I was just thinking like, why are you wasting this money when you can just put a blouse on and you can win like 3 degrees of heat. And finally we had like, well, not an argument, but a talk about it. And she was like, yeah, well, you're standing under a blanket with a laptop on and a hoodie, of course you're warm. And I'm like, who's stopping you from putting a blanket on and a hoodie? And okay, so I don't think it ever escalated into an argument, but still, it was clear like neither of us agreed with how the other was approaching the heat thing. And one more thing that she did, beside the constant blah 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 when I was working, and the constant, oh, let me tell you what I dreamed of, and what day is it, and whatever, when I would have a guest, shouldn't leave. I mean, it's very nice and proper when somebody has a guest, you go in, you introduce yourself, and if you know the person, you spend like a minute or two so you don't leave a bad impression, the other person doesn't think you have something against them. But she would stay there for as long as my visitor would stay, and even longer, because then she would have to repeat like what she dreamt of the previous night or something interesting. And even when my visitor left, she would still be there, and talk to me about something. I'd be tired. I had enough company, you know. It got to the point where I would go and hang out with my friends outside if we were in our area, because if we were at my place, she'd be there and constantly talking. You know, like maybe sometimes you just want to chill with a glass of wine. She'd be there and she'd be like, "Oh, what are you guys drinking?" And of course, you have to offer. You know, you can't be like that person. So that's how she was regarding that. And let's not forget that she also drank. Like she would go out, she would party, whatever. And when she came home, she would walk through my room naturally. And again, she would start talking and telling me what she did. And there are a couple of times when she literally woke me up to tell me something, and it wasn't important. Nothing extraordinary had happened. She hadn't met Jason Derulo on her way home. She just drank and spoke with people. That's all she ever did, and that's all she ever talked about. So it was a combination of all of these things that it got to the point where I really couldn't stand her anymore. And well, I guess she wasn't in a very good place to start with, and I did try to help her at first. You know, I tried to hang out with her, go out with her, do this, do that. Like, you could drink less because it doesn't really help, and as much as I could, you know. But well, not only did she not change, and I didn't expect the change to happen overnight. I know it takes time, but when she started being like nagging and unpleasant to be around, and the things she did with the money and everything, I really like gave up on her. And years later, she's still in the same place she was, not just like literally, because I know she still lives there, but we have common friends, and I know she still does the same thing. She doesn't care about getting a job, and but I'm a bit jealous, because I'm like, how are your parents supporting you? Like, my parents are like, we will get a job or move back home. You know, it's like the big apple or the small apple. Yeah, but well, as much as I, so to say, envy that help, all of the other things are just not very good, and they can influence you. But luckily, I saw, so to say, I saw myself in her, meaning I could end up in that situation, and instead of like following her downhill, it was a moment when I decided, you know, I really shouldn't be drinking that much, for example, because I used to be a pretty heavy drinker back in the day, and yeah, I need to find a better job. And in a way, she kind of inspired me to be a better person, so I don't end up like her. I know it sounds terrible, but it's true. Okay, so that's the end of part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it at least a bit, and I will upload a second part these days. I don't know when. In the meantime, I'm curious, like, what kind of flatmates from hell stories do you have? You can leave them in the comment section below. I will react to them, respond to them, and start a conversation. Complain about other people. That's always great. That's all for today. Thank you. Bye. And don't forget to subscribe.